And hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? It's time for the pregame. It's time for the pregame. It's time for the pregame. That's right. I got on all gray. I hope you didn't think I lost my gray cappy. Oh, I hope you didn't think I lost my Colonel Cappy. Hopefully everybody's doing good tonight. Hopefully you all are doing well tonight. Listen, we are gonna put in. I'm gonna put in the from Jermaine. I'm gonna put in all the things we need so we can go. But let's get started with the pregame show. We're gonna get started with the pregame show now. Pregame show is brought to you by Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is talking to you about Mike Johnson and what Mike Johnson just gave money to.
That, in fact, the FBI and the federal intel agencies, the dozen or more federal intel agencies we have for some reason, had been working secretly against Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Trump had whispered about this, then shouted about it, and was roundly denounced as a conspiracy nut, a lunatic. But in the end, he was vindicated. It was true. These agencies spied on Trump, and they leaked some of what they'd learned to the media, which used it against Trump. Then these agencies concocted false stories about Trump. They tried to crush Trump completely in 2016, and then for the entire course of his presidency. Then they did the same thing in 2020 during the presidential election, and they're doing it still. They're trying to put him in prison for the rest of his life. So if you take 3 steps back, what you have here is what we're seeing now. For the third time in 3 consecutive cycles, secretive federal agencies are trying to rig our presidential election. This is what the Democrats refer to as democracy, and they're trying to defend it. But of course, it's the opposite of democracy. It's in fact the end of democracy in any semblance of a constitutional republic we ever had. If you have a secret police force threatening people, spying on them, and working secretly the levers of political power, then you don't have a democracy. You have no control over really anything as a voter. So if there's one thing the Republican Party, the opposition party, should be doing in response to this, right now, it's fighting back against this descent into totalitarianism. They should be working to return freedom and democracy to the country. They should defend the Constitution. They should rein in these agencies, Washington's secret police. But you will not be surprised to learn they've been busy doing just the opposite. So if you're wondering why no one has gone to prison for any of this, now that we know it actually happened, well, the reason is in part a law called FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. It's been around a long time. Teddy Kennedy first proposed it, by the way, back in the mid-1970s. And that law allows the federal government to spy without a warrant on foreigners outside the borders of the country. And the idea is bad people are doing bad things against us. We need to know what they are, and we can't bother to go to a court to get a warrant every time we want to know. But it will never be used against American citizens. Well, of course, now that we know it has been at scale. But that law, FISA, has made it possible. So that law is now up for reauthorization in the House of Representatives. And amazingly, the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, has spent the last couple of weeks doing all he can to get that law reauthorized. In other words, to allow the federal agencies to continue to spy upon and punish people who disagree with him. In other words, Mike Johnson's own party, Republicans, Trump voters. Mike Johnson has been working to do that. And that effort failed today because members of Congress heard from their constituents or came to their senses, saw the truth in a dream. Whatever happened, they stopped Mike Johnson from doing that for the moment. So that's a good thing, and you ought to be celebrating it, even if you didn't know it was happening. And a lot of people didn't because it got very little media coverage. But of course, this is a temporary victory, like all bad things, like that chlamydia you got in a hot tub in Cabo in college. It will come back. This attempt to spy on you, an American citizen, without a warrant because you've been politically disobedient. Why will it come back? Because it's what they really care about. And so before it does come back, it's worth just a very quick autopsy on what just happened. What did we just see so we can learn a couple of important lessons? And the first lesson we're going to learn is that a lot of powerful people in the Congress are liars. They lie without shame, in fact, with pride, and they do so at the behest of or because of blackmail instituted by the intel agencies. And at the head of that list would be the chairman of the House Intel Committee, Mike Turner of Ohio. We're going to play you a clip from Mike Turner of Ohio saying exactly the opposite of what is true. Here is Mike Turner reassuring you that FISA would never, under the FISA law, the U.S. government would never be allowed to spy on you without a warrant, because that's unconstitutional. It's never happened. It never will happen. And if you think otherwise, you're probably one of those UFO-believing nut jobs who want to stop doing ayahuasca. Here's House Intel Committee, pawn of the intel agencies, Mike Turner of Ohio.
We're not surveilling foreigners in the United States. We're not surveilling Americans in the United States. Those individuals who say that this is a warrantless search of Americans' data are just not telling the truth. These are foreigners abroad. They're a select group of individuals who are a national security threat. If you're an American and you're corresponding with ISIS, yes, if we're spying on ISIS, your communications are going to be captured. You would want us to do that. All Americans would want us to try to make certain that we keep ourselves safe from these outside terrorist groups and organizations.
Well, I see why Marjorie Taylor Greene is so mad at Mike Johnson. A lot of stuff has been going on with Mike Johnson. I know that Republicans don't have a supermajority. We barely have 1 to 2 Republicans over the Democrats. You can say that's the Republicans making. That's who that is. That's who fault. It's the Republicans making. But what you cannot take away is that Republicans are coming and doing what Democrats want them to do. And until we figure out a way, until we as Republicans figure out a way not to be beholden to the press, one, I hope they're able to stop Republicans from going on these shows with Democrats that's Democrat ran, Democrat owned, Democrat done, and all they do is attack us. That's all they do. They hate us. Hopefully you guys are getting the links in so you can be on the show. Hopefully you guys again, because this double barrel J's tonight. Yes it is. Yes it is. Y'all know me. I got to make sure I bring in all my Rumble rebels. Rumble. It's 55 of us right now watching on Rumble. You got some of us over here on we got them over here on Mind of Jamal Live and Mind of Jamal, the Black Southerner. Now, I just found out something. I can do something that I didn't know I could do, which makes a better thing. I'm now able to focus both of my YouTube pages on the same screen. So I don't have to go over here and I don't have to go over here. I actually got access to both of my pages right now. That makes it my job a lot easier, and it makes I can move a lot faster with you guys. But we're finding out that the American people are tired of Joe Biden. They don't know what to do. The American people are tired of Joe Biden. They're tired of the Democrats. They're poor. They're not making enough money. The economy sucks. The economy sucks. The economy is horrible. And people cannot make it. And MSNBC had a poll of people whom they asked about the economy. And here is what MSNBC want to do. They want to walk past all Joe Biden supporters, want to walk past the grocery store. They want to say, oh, we're doing good, we're doing great, but they want to walk past the grocery store. They want to walk past the gas station. They want to walk past the electrical company. They don't want us to pay attention to that. Gas going up by half. Groceries, medicines, electricity, all these things are going up. More people aren't taking vacations because they can't afford them. And MSNBC is shocked. No, it can't be true. It can't be true.
Donald Trump in 2016 and by Joe Biden in 2020. So here are the answers when asked what the best argument is for giving President Biden another term. Take a look.
I agree with his stance on abortion. I mean, for me, that's probably the only positive I have right now.
What other people think? What do you see as the best argument for another term for President Biden?
I agree with Gina. That's the only positive thing I've got going for him.
He definitely shows more care towards disenfranchised people. He's not one of the, hey, you're on your own kind of people. And I personally agree with, we should be supporting people who need support, and it should be kind of a collective good sort of thing. And I think he's not a socialist, but Biden definitely, represents that far more than Trump does. And that's the case, I would say.
I like what he did with loan forgiveness for college students and with their debt from loans for college. I think that was something positive he was trying to do.
I think he's doing well with the carbon credit. And the environmental issues.
I think he represents something of a safe status quo choice. If that's a good thing or not, I'm not really certain.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies.
A group.
I want to show two more. The undecided voters were also asked how they think President Biden is doing on the economy. Take a listen.
I think he's been absolutely disastrous for the economy.
I agree.
Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally. Raise your hand.
I want y'all all to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the question is, who would do better for your family? And MSNBC can't hide this. But everybody, it is now 10 o'clock. MSNBC, I just want you to see this.
All right, so that is everybody. President Biden argues
it's almost time up. That's that clip that lets me know Jermaine is about to call in. All right, everybody. I'll talk to you guys later.
What do you?
See you with Jermaine.